You know what it is. It's your man Trey, aka T Smith.
Loved by few, hated by many, respected by all.
Coach boy, Coach Dan, ready to get it in on the world famous
TURFTALK, baby.
It's a first down. Bryant. Clean and it's intercepted. Drake Jackson. Let's go. Let's go.
Live my whole life around gangsters. Don't hang around nothing that ain't like us. Twin foes make them put away deuces. My whole hood in the building looking ruthless.
Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. It's a pleasure, hang out with you. This Turf Talk edition is a special edition, man. Something much needed in the community. Get to hang out with a couple of my guys. I get to see them twice this week. They on my head, but I get to see them twice this week. I know they got busy schedule. I'm your man T Smith, also known as Trey. And two of my buddies, two of my favorite guys to talk football about is Coach G, Coach Dennis. Join your co-host for the night. How you doing, Coach Dennis?
I'm fired up, man. What's going on with you, baby?
I'm good, man. It's good to see you. I know you back and forth. We're going to talk a little bit about that Chicago weather in a minute. Yeah. Coach G, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm blessed with no stress, standing on my spot like a social distance sticker. You know what I'm saying? Strong enough to let go, patient enough to wait. I'm knowing, knowing your worth is a great value. And if you're not willing to do more than what you're paid for, you'll never be paid more than what you're doing. So, all or nothing on mine, baby. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait. I can't wait to get it in today. Can't wait.
Yes, sir. And I'm excited to talk. We got an exciting show that's much needed in the community. And as we had that lunch before we started doing all this, this is what we're trying to bring to the community. Besides, highlighting, the high school players and the underdog players. Coach G, I'm gonna start off with you. How's the week going? How's everything? USC looks good. I got to see a couple workouts with Lil Caden. Everything looks solid. How's everything on your end this week?
Man, grinding and shining. I'm feeling good. I think that USC is they making it happen. You know what I mean? But of course, as everything keeps going, the talent is going to get harder and harder. So you know what I mean? They got to just stay poised and I think Riley's doing a very, very good job. You know what I mean? And it's a lot of how do you say it? It's a lot of politics going on there. But I always say, football is 80% mental. It's only 20% physical. And it's a lot of things. Adversity is the part of the grind. I think a lot of these young men have to figure it out, including my own son. But at the end, you know what I mean? He's gonna come out on top. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Hey, he built for it tough. He gonna be all right. Shout out to
right.
GB. Hey, GB, you know what you're doing. So
that's right.
Yes, sir.
Let's go, nephew. Coach, be all right for sure.
Definitely. Coach Dan, let's chop it up with you. I seen you got a little dose of that Chicago weather. How is that at Soldier Field? Talk to me.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, man. I know we're finna do a show, a little something about the youth and stuff like that. Now I just sat back and I was just thinking like, whoa, man, my son is in the NFL. And only thing I can think about was youth ball. Like, man, who'd have thought from youth ball to right now, my son would be in the league. And man, it's like, it's still unreal to me, man. I'm like, it's sometimes you can't control the tears, bro. It's like, you just be looking at it, it's just like, man, this is real. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, Chicago was beautiful, man. It's funny because the first day we went out there, it was sunny, beautiful, hot, and then the next day, just uncontrollable rain. But I love just to see my son Hardy. He was like, Dad, he was like, I've never played in this much rain in my life. He's like, but it was fun though. So I mean, it was nice, man. It was beautiful. Yeah, got a whole lot, man. I didn't think he'd be in like he was in. You know what I mean? I'm not, like I said, he went in there and he was doing his thing, man. I think he got over 40, 50 plays, man. So I'm like, man,
I got a chance to check it out. And, I try to watch football unbiasedly, just so I can get an understanding of what's going on, etc. He looked like, I'm going to say he looked comfortable, if that's the right word.
Right.
And a lot of people don't look comfortable when they first start off playing in the league. But when you see a kid, I don't want to say he's a kid, a young man, get in there, make a tackle, go against the dude, win some, struggle with some, but he's smiling. And I was like, okay, he's having a good time. You know what I'm saying? And that's all you can ask for.
Right.
So,
but hey, like you said, he looked good. He looked good. I can't. The defense looked better than the offense, but we'll leave that for another conversation.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Coach G.
Well, hey, like I said, man, it's still hard for me to root for another team, man. I'm a diehard Raider fan.
Hey,
so it's
man.
like, hey, when the offense was on, I was like kind of like turning my head a little bit. But you know what I mean? I'm like, I just want to see that D. You know?
I was just watching the defense. After, when the offense got the ball, I went to another game. But you know, we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Hey, it's always a pleasure, Coach Dennis, chopping it up, man. Proud of you and the family.
Yes,
Coach
sir.
D, you want to go ahead and coach us up for the night? Let us know which way we going. We got some members on the phone, dialed in right now. So it's all on you, Coach G. Talk to us.
Right. Tonight we're going to be touching, it might be an uncomfortable conversation, but, it's been a lot. I personally feel like the youth spectrum is kind of spiraling out of control. You know what I mean? You've been hearing about all the deaths, the brawls, and all the different things that's going on. And I think it has to be addressed. And I think it starts from the home and even with the coaches. It starts with us. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be the mentors and the leaders. And me personally, I feel like there's a lot of things that are going on that I feel like that we're not doing as coaches that we need to do. And that's why we're having this conversation now. We're gonna discuss about some of the deaths that's been going on. And remember, we're volunteer workers, and it's almost like, are we supposed to be wearing bulletproof vests and walking through metal detectors now? Has it come down to that? That's how serious it seems to be, you know. And so I wrote a little something to let everybody know how it's gonna go down tonight. So if you would allow me, I'll go ahead and read off what I wrote down.
Hey, we all yours. Come on.
Okay, so this is what I got. Salutations to all of our guests and for all the viewers. Today's show is unprecedented. We have some of the top youth football teams in the country joining us, along with the Southern Pacific director of AAU football and a top CIF referee, stamped with a special guest who wears many hats in the NFL. Such an honor to have all of you gentlemen here and ladies. And before we get deeper in the backyard woods of the dirty South, let me sprinkle you guys with this. 62% of all boys of color live in a single parent home where the father is non-existent. In most of these situations, these boys find their role models from TV, rappers, or the street gangs. 83% of school teachers are women, 95% being teachers' aides. Although it is easier to educate than incarcerate, 1 of 4 boys of color will go to jail. There's a slogan, from preschool to the penitentiary, either Penn State or the state pen. Coaches, we have to do a better job. We are role models. And to the parents, we must parent all the way through, not just doing the tender years. So I just wanted to leave that introduction, everybody, and kind of put that on our mental. And hey, let's get at it. Let's get at it. You know what I mean? I hope everybody fall in place. We're supposed to have a lot of coaches online, but the ones that's here, man, I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna go ahead. Hey, man, my name is Trey. It's definitely a pleasure to meet all you coaches that step up and volunteer in the community and make a difference. I know we're all human beings or whatnot, so none of us are perfect, but I applaud you for what you do, because it's hard enough dealing with the kids, and dealing with the parents is even worse. So I want you guys to go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us what region you're from, what section, what age of players you work with, your name, whatever information you want to give us, boss.
Right.
Coach Joe, you can start it off.
I'll start you off. This is my name is Cooper Brown. I'm Coach KB. I've been coaching with Coach G. Man, since our boys was 5-6 years old. That's my brother.
Right.
I'm no longer on the sidelines, but I'm still kind of a life coach, tutoring, mentoring, heavy into mentoring from 5 to 18. I've spent some of my life with Coach Dennis and Drake as well, man. So it's all family. I appreciate being on the call with you all guys, and man, world renowned Turf Talk. Let's get it.
That's right.
I started off after Coach KB. My name is Coach Joe Walker. I've been blessed enough to work with Coach GB, his son, and also Coach Dennis's son with my sports academy, Elite Athlete Sports Academy, out of the Inland Empire. Been here about 12 years, and just seeing great things out of these coaches, and more importantly, these great fathers. So I'm just really blessed to be here with these guys on this call. So I appreciate y'all.
Blessing, my brother. Blessings.
Yes,
You know, I got a text from some of the coaches, and they're saying they're having a hard time getting on because of the code. But I think they need to know that they need to use the caps. If it's lowercase, they need to use lowercase. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they popping on now, Coach. You guys keep introduce yourself, Mr. Brad, Mr. Allen, Mr. Trey. You guys just jump in and introduce yourself, brothers.
Yeah, my name is Trey Chris, Coach Trey. I'm the president of D-Town Eagles. We got a 6U, 8U, and then we have a A team, which consisted of 10 and 11-year-olds. We're out of Dallas, Texas. I've been coaching for probably, my oldest daughter is 12, so I've been coaching for 9 years. I've coached every sport, coached boys and girls, been successful, and, it feels good to, coach these kids, give back to the community.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you.
yes, sir.
That's great, man. This Coach Bryant, man. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So I coach the ATL Elite Red Dogs. I've been in this now, head coach. This is my first year head coach. I've been coaching now for 6 years. I am the athletic director at Georgia State University.
Oh, that's right.
Prior to Georgia State University, I was at Florida State. Prior to Florida State, I was at Miami of Ohio, worked at LSU, worked at Mississippi State, played football at Mississippi State, played in the NFL. But my biggest thing, I like I said, going through this youth football thing, you never know who you're going to cross paths with. And as Coach G said, when you get a chance to, mentor the youth and give back, that's been my biggest thing. So, even being a head coach this first year, I told Coach G the biggest thing for me was knowing him and getting a chance to meet him through last year and trying to schedule games and do some different things. And we're going to get a chance to do that in the future. But, it's like we all say, it's society around here, so we have to, all, pour into each other as well, because we are the ones that's giving back to these kids.
Right.
So, I get a chance to do this at a major D1 institution, but also at the Little League level to get kids to understand that the end goal is for, just like Coach G said, for you to get to college and change your life and be able to impact other kids down the road. So I'm glad to be here with you guys.
Right. Appreciate you.
Sir. Yes, sir. Next up, we just want to make sure everybody gets a chance to represent where they're from, what kids they represent, man. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'll jump in. My name is Mikkel Allen. I'm from Philly, Morgan State graduate, former collegiate athlete, played football at Morgan as well. Started out my career at the NFL Players Association, worked throughout the entire organization, and then recently transitioned into the private equity space. So I work with NFL players, professional baseball players, basketball players, connecting the resources that help them essentially perform at the highest level possible. Also serve on the board of directors for the Aaron Donald Foundation. So leading fundraising efforts for his foundation to support the community initiatives and programming that we have going on in Pittsburgh. And then in addition to that, also I'm the president of National Society of Black Sports Professionals, DC chapter. So that's a nonprofit that focuses on driving diversity, equity, inclusion in the sports industry. I wear a few hats in the sports industry, but and all of it is connecting people to resources, whether it's youth, student athletes, professional athletes, and just people in general. At the end of the day, is connecting people to resources that help them, obviously live up to their fullest potential. So I'm happy to be on a call, network with you gentlemen, and look forward to conversation.
Appreciate it.
Sir,
We appreciate you.
Hey, man, what's good, fam? My name is Cruz Costin. Trey, pleasure to meet you, my man. Coach DJ, GB, it's been a minute, but it's always good to see you, brothers, man. I'm former youth football coach for 10 years. I recently been refereeing youth football, arena football, and some semi-pro for the past 8 years. And it's just a true blessing, man, that G reached out to me for me to join this call, because I've been struggling with my calling to get back to these youth. Once I jumped out of the youth football coaching and then jumped on the sideline, boy, they miss us. And these kids need us. So a pleasure to be on, brothers.
That's real.
We appreciate you. Mr. Dominic.
Hey, how you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
How you doing? My name Coach Nick Dominic Davis. I'm in Arizona. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I've been coaching youth football for about 4 years now. My team is 10-year-olds. So I've been going against Coach G for about 3 years. And I look at him like I tell my kids and I tell a lot of my parents, I really look up to him as a coach, as a mentor, as a lot, because when he coaches, it's a different, he bring a different intensity, bring a lot of structure, a lot of discipline. Like he ain't about the swag, he about the development, about the kids. And, just in today's era, it's just a lot of more swag with the kids versus development.
Right.
So, I'm happy he brought me on. I'm excited.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Mr. Jad.
You can hear me?
Yes,
sir.
sir.
I kind of in the dark, man. Hey, this Coach Jed, man. I coach for the IB Rays, man. 12U, man. Man, I've been coaching for about 15 years, man. 15 years straight, man. I'm in the game strong, man. So I done seen a lot. I done been through a lot, and coaching is what I do, man. I love coaching, and the thing is, I know Coach B been doing it. I've been around him for a couple of years too, man. We've been doing it. I've seen him coach. I haven't coached against him, but I've seen him do this thing, and you know what I mean. Coach Dennis, I've been around there when his son started with the Compton Vikings, and I've been around, man, with the other Coach G. Rest in peace. I've been around, man. So a lot of people, they probably don't know my name, but they have seen my face though, man. So, I'm in here, man.
That's right.
Hey, nice to meet you guys, man.
Definitely appreciate Coach Jed. Coach Dennis, Coach G, you want to tap in and point us in the direction?
Right. I want to say this. Someone said we raise our daughters but love our sons. We teach our daughters to cook, clean, sew, and all basic survival skills, yet our sons just know sports. And even our schools glorify athletes over the scholars. When was the last time you seen a pep rally for honor roll students? And it's just me. I personally feel our youth, especially on the football field, is saturated with a lot of misguidance. And my question for you gentlemen are we as coaches choosing swag over development, and are we compromising our integrity by letting these parents be involved? That's a question I have for you guys out there.
I'll take the first swag at that, man. I think that I think us as a culture is more developed to the swag. We're more catered to the swag, but there is a unique difference in men like us that'll get on a call, that'll get together, that'll give each other their flowers while you still living, as opposed to giving flowers while you sitting in
coaches and NFL, ex-NFL coaches and players and shit. Coach G got me on.
Right.
When you look at it,
Zoom meeting. There's somebody that played for the.
Your Arizona, your thing is still on.
Okay. I'm gonna call you back.
All right.
But when you really look at it and you take your individual walks, by being on a call like this, you're searching for people that have like minds. And I think this is kind of the platform, and this is kind of the mindset that actually gets that'll get the ball rolling, that'll actually get it started, because everybody on here is on a different mindset, right? So the ones that are chasing the swag and chasing the bling and chasing the props and all of that stuff, they'll end up weeding themselves out because they won't be on anything like this. They won't be able to breathe.
Right. And coaches, I personally feel like on the youth, we're sparing out of control. I think we have the coach from New York. Can you please explain to us one of the incidents that happened to you out there, or even the coach from Texas? I know that coaches have been getting shot. I know in Lancaster, a coach got killed in the restroom. In Texas, a coach got killed. So if you experienced something like that, can you guys please elaborate on different things that you've experienced as a coach, even brawls? I feel like it's getting out of control.
G, if I can jump in as a referee. a few weeks back, I had a head coach sucker punch a referee.
Right.
Literally, I mean, hit him from the back, knocked him out, ran away, and jumped the fence, like a freaking coward. But these are the people that, as parents, you dropping them off for 2 hours a day to coach your son up, and you wonder why when they come back home, they don't respect you because they've been talked about. They've been called all kinds of names. It's just, from what I'm witnessing from my coaching and from now reffing, we're not really coaching these kids up. We're just, the name calling these kids, man, is ridiculous. And it's not coaches. It's like they forget that you still got to coach on game day.
Right.
Right. So it's just really, for a head coach to sucker punch a referee in a scrimmage game, out of control. Just out of control, man.
Right. And I want to ask the coaches, every coach on here, you guys, we're all from different states. Can you guys please let us know some things that you're dealing with as coaches? Because, California is different from Texas and Colorado. Just each coach under 20 seconds, just let us know something that you deal with as coaches. Because I personally feel like we're letting these parents kind of dictate how we run our teams. But if you can, please elaborate and let us know something that you're dealing with in your area, please.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head, GB. When you talk about these parents are really running it out of control. We're talking about adolescents, right? So these guys are developing minds at the same time when they're on the field. So they're a product of their environment, they're a product of their household 90% of the time. So, my first experience at this where it really, really brought a gut-wrenching feeling to my stomach. I'm at a 7-on-7 game in Escondido with my Murrieta kids. I live in Murrieta, California. There's no gangs out here. There's no reason to be violent. So just speaking the truth, you feel me? So, the bandit comes down, lines up on my slide. First play, just punch him in the mouth. I'm watching other things. I'm watching my quarterback drop back. I'm watching my, the primary receiver. So the kid comes back, with his tongue on his lip. And I'm like, damn, you got pressed up, young man. You got to get out there and wiggle your hips. He's like, no, he just straight up punched me. But he was prideful. He said, let's just go. Second play, boom, did it again. I wasn't even paying attention to him. But the dad ran over to me with his camera and said, this dude punched my son. Well, my heart changed and how I changed. I haven't done 7-on-7 since this again, right?
Right.
But my heart changed because the parent, the mother, there wasn't no dad out there. The dad didn't say it, but the mother said, hit him again, and this time knock him out.
Wow.
Right? So at this time, I had to see the film, right? So I say, okay, let me check this out. And it was blatant, just blatant punch. Not even a jam, not even nothing, right? So after this, I asked the referees, y'all gonna do something? I hit the coach up. I know him, I respect him. I say, you're gonna do something? So yeah, they pull him out the game. Long story short, we end up playing these team in the semifinals. Now, granted, this be my kid from Elite Athlete Sports Academy, LLC, with my logo on his chest. He gonna have to strip that off for the day. We might have to talk about this for you going further with me. He comes back in the game. He lined up over my kid again. So this wouldn't be allowed at an institution like a collegiate institution. This wouldn't be allowed at a professional institution. This wouldn't be allowed at a high school. And I think where it really gets detoured is these off-season programs, and I'm one of them. So I'm speaking from the heart, but these off-season programs don't have enough integrity to call it their household. And I mean, what I mean by my household is my kid comes spend the night is my house, my rules if his friend comes spend the night with me. Right. So at the same time, when I step on the field, it's my field, my rules.
Right.
So when do we allow that integrity of having our rules get jeopardized by the talent that we're dealing with? And I think that's the most important and valuable piece of this is how we can control that and we can eliminate that. Because sometimes we got to start clipping that rose bush or the bush is not going to prosper.
Well put. Coaches, can we get 20 seconds? Can we get 20 seconds of just some testimony on things that you guys deal with, like 20 seconds so everybody can get their say so? Jump in, coaches, please.
Yeah, I think this is Brad. I think one of the bigger pieces of it all is too, we as, and I tell our parents, tell my parents and all other parents I come in contact with, I think sometimes we get lost as coaches with the social media piece.
Right.
And everybody's chasing the glorification on social media and the likes, rather than actually the instillment in the kid of what's going to be next. you know, for you. You know, you take like, for instance, like with our program, we, you know, I'm big on, you know, I just invited Slidell down, Coach G, to play in the Georgia State Stadium. I gave him tickets to a college game. The kids got a chance to go out. I mean, these kids from, you know, Louisiana, they probably never had any idea what a college football field even looks like to be able to play on one. And I tell our parents, it's not about, you know, Instagram or any likes or any photo. You know, I'm out here trying to get kids to college. You know, and I tell all of our parents, the way you get to college is how you carry yourself. And I'm trying to teach them that at a young age, is that when these coaches come in your house, they want to know if you got your nuts and bolts together, if they're going to even offer you a Division I scholarship. And I tell every last one of our kids that it's about, you know, respect that you give, you know, yourself, the name on the jersey, and then those other teams that you play against, and all the other stuff will fall in line as you move forward. But that's the biggest thing in Georgia right now is everybody wants to, you know, be the team on social media. Everybody wants to go to battle. Everybody wants to be the number one team in the country.
Yes.
And it's like, what are you teaching your kid at the end of the day? If they don't know how to lose and be humble and come back and win, you're not teaching them anything.
Right.
I like
California,
that, I like that.
California too. Man.
That's just good stuff right there.
Yes, sir. Mr. Trey, you got any suggestions or anything that you've experienced through your years of coaching?
I believe it's a combination of things. You know, I always say, like, you know, even my son, you know, back in the day when we was playing Little League football, we had less distractions. You know, when we came to the football field, we was focused on the football field. These days, you can be yelling at your kid to do something, and the whole time you're yelling at them, they got $1,000 phone in their hand. And a lot of kids feel privileged, and then at the same time, you know, you look in the stands, you don't see a lot of us in the stands. You see a lot of moms. So you meet these kids who are not used to being handled like how a man should handle their son. And then that's when the parent interjects, or sometimes you don't even handle that certain type of kid based on his skill set. So a lot of times, you know, like when you get to junior high, high school, you know, I dare you try to go talk to the coach and tell him he should get the ball more or he should do this. But in Little League, you know, for the most part, the parent right behind you. And sometimes you got to listen to what the parents say, or you'll lose that kid. Or, you know, not listen to what the parents say and they leave anyway. So I feel like, you know, we have to, I always tell my coaches, coach the kids like how you coach your son. If you wouldn't let your son play that, if you wouldn't let your son cuss, if you wouldn't let your son, you know, tarnish the integrity of the game, then don't let any other kids do that. And if the parents can't understand that, then you probably don't need them on your team. Because to me, that's what leads to kids cussing on the field, kids fighting on the field, coaches fighting on the field. It starts right there. You gotta set a type of culture about yourself and about your team, and you gotta stick to that.
Right. I agree.
I like that a lot.
And like
right,
I was at that,
real respectable. I like that. Mr.
Yeah,
Dominic,
I was at that event.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think in today's game,
my bad. I accidentally cut off Coach Trey. Let him finish something, then jump in, Coach Dominic.
Yeah, I was at that event. You know, actually, my team was supposed to play that game where that coach we were supposed to play that game at the time where that coach had got shot. And my AU had played like a couple of hours before then. And, you know, I was looking at the whole event and I was like, you know, it's crazy. Like everywhere you go, you got to like be on a swivel like that. You would never think that, you know, you'll be a Little League football game and it gets to that. But these days, like, you have these men who are kind of like living through their kids or, you know, dream kids, and, you know, they talking to them in certain ways. Even when their kid mess up, it's like, you know, you're going crazy on them. And I always try to self-reflect myself on how, you know, at the end of the day, you want your team to win. You want your team to get better, but they only 10 and 11. They're not making the NFL tomorrow. So today, your job is to not only just make them a better athlete, but to make them a better man and a better young for the future. Because that's the me grow up. Like that, I heard that saying say, an uncoachable kid is an unhireable adult when they get older. That's
real.
Different stuff that happens on the sideline.
Come on, Trey, you killing them today. Let's go.
Whoa, that's big stuff right there, boy.
Yeah.
that was a lot.
Hey, I wrote that one down.
Yeah, that one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we definitely want to let's tap in with Dominic and Mr. Allen, and I want to get Coach Dennis's view, because his son, went through all that and played in youth as well. Go ahead, Dominic.
I think in today's game is kind of watered down in the youth. Like, as far as everybody want to have these stacked teams, you damn near a kid got to be the best on the team to make a team, or if you know, as far as daddy balling, that's a big thing. Like, I got kids on my team, like, just the daddy want to coach just so his son can get in, or just so his son can get the ball. Say he's a defensive guy, he wanted to get the ball. Like, it just get nerve wracking at times.
Right.
Daddy ball out the all time high. Everybody want they kid to get the ball, and it's like, wait, hold on, man. Your kid is gonna be a lineman in high school. So why you want this guy to get the ball? He's 160 pounds at 10U, and he want to get the ball. And if he don't get the ball, well, then I'm going to a different team. I'm going to a different team. So I just think, back in the day, you know, football was fun. You know, you grow up with your friends and you go to the park and play Killer Man. You playing tackle and y'all build a team together. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I was on the team from 4 years old all the way up to 12. We was a shitty org. We was a shitty org, but we had fun and we knew what football was.
Right.
Like, you know, we ain't win a lot of games, but we grew up knowing what football was. Today's era is just more about swag and what team I'm gonna put him on, and everybody worry about nationals. And it just seemed like it just got watered down. Like, for me coaching.
I agree.
Mr. Allen, what's your views on any of this? I know I don't recall that you said you was coaching, but what's your views in dealing with the youth, the parents, and all this whole situation from a seat from afar? What have you seen and witnessed?
For sure. No, I think it's definitely disheartening to hear everything that you guys are experiencing in the community when it was relates to coaching. I think back to myself when I was playing Pop Warner football, you know, playing for the you know, just coming up in the Frankfurt Chargers and Philly or whatnot, and the situations that we would have come up there with parents getting into it with the coaches and coaches getting into it with the parents, and you know, then it impacting the youth that's there. And I always try to get to the core, the root of any issue. And really, I think sometimes it just comes down to is the lack of I would say just the lack of teaching and understanding as to what it means to dissolve, or you know, a situation, you know. So for these coaches who are having to deal with, you know, parents that are just unpleasant, you know, maybe it's some classes that we could do, or certifications that we could, you know, get into that, you know, help us be able to dissolve these situations. Maybe it's, you know, having safe management, you know, at these games or at the practices. You know, maybe it's looking at precautionary measures that we could take, you know, to protect the coaches, protect the kids, you know, protect the parents that's there. Because when you get into, you know, people start acting out violently, that's what we don't want, you know, and that's what it seems to be, you know, that people are experiencing. So, you know, I think is putting things into place that protects you guys and protects the kids, you know. So if it's you know, more certifications, more teaching, or maybe it's courses or classes that we can implement in the off-season program for not only the coaches, but just for the parents and families as well. I think that, you know, a lot of anger and a lot of frustration, especially that these kids bring, you know, with their families when they come to practice, comes from, you know, the home and the childhood and the lack of resources, you know. So I think that, you know, also just finding ways of how we can provide additional support to some of these kids and their families. Because I think that parents come there with their problems and they be trying to live through it with their kids down on the field, which isn't fair. So, you know, I think that for me, you know, just thinking back to when I was coming up and playing Little League football and some of the things I had to deal with, I would have liked to see those things, you know, especially, you know, in those really rough neighborhoods. So I think that's just my take.
Yes, sir. I like that. And your voice is needed because you got an outside perspective. You said a lot of valuable information there to me. I actually came up with a couple of things I want to mention after we talked to Coach Dennis. Coach Dennis, you went through the same things, dealing with parents and still being around parents on the high school sideline. What's some of your words of advice to deal with some of these issues, some of these parents, and I don't know if you have a tragic situation because you're a big guy, so they probably stayed away from you.
Well, for me, man, first of all, I want to give a special shout out to the coaches that got to play a part in my son's life, like Coach Joe, Coach KB, and even Mr. Casas, having his son play with my son. But, man, I was introduced to the game of football, man. I was whistling to my son and telling him what plays to do. And, rest in peace, Coach G, man. He said, man, why don't you come bring that coaching to the field, man? And I was honored, man. I was like, yeah, man, I'll do it. You know what I mean? But I think the number one thing for me that really helped me with kids and parents is just being genuine. You know what I'm saying? I would take kids on camping trips. I would let 15 boys spend the night at my house at one time.
Right.
We get backpacks, we go hiking. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised. Some of these kids never went hiking in their life, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I think that's the number one thing for me, just being genuine. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta be transparent with parents. You know what I mean? Hey, little Johnny not ready. He's getting better though. Let's keep coaching him up, and let's have him get better and better, and then we'll throw him in there. You know what I mean? And if he get better, he gets better. You know. But that's the number one thing to me. Just being genuine with these boys. You know. I told a kid in high school, and like he had access to being a gangbanger and stuff. I said, man, do me a favor. I said, promise me that you'll make it. I said, man, I love you, dude. I said, you got the opportunity to go far. And when kids hear stuff like genuine like that, and you show that you're concerned for them, they made it. Like right now, that kid's playing with the Raiders. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He get a walk on, and now he's with the Raiders. But just being genuine, and I appreciate the coaches that's on this panel. You know, I can honestly say that those guys been genuine with my kid, and he is where he is from great coaching. And I'm not gonna just take all the credit. I'm gonna take credit for all the coaches that's had a part in this life.
Right.
I appreciate them free Raiders shout outs. Go ahead, Coach G.
Like I was saying before, out in New York, after the football game, a coach was shaking hands with the other team, and a parent came over and shot the coach in the head and killed him. Out in Lancaster, a coach was in the restroom. A parent came in and killed him. Texas, we already know what happened. I was at a 707 event, and they started shooting there. So, coaches, what I got to say is what is going on. Someone once said it's the power of the media, because parents can actually start banging on other parents from different states. And then someone also said and I had to get the rabbit out the room. Coaches are betting. Parents are betting on games. So what is the problem? Why is it spiraling out of control? Because to fix the problem, we got to find out what the problem is and then find a solution. So I just kind of want to give everybody their feedback. What is the problem? What is going on? What changed from here back into the 90s? I don't get it.
Like I said, it's the culture. Like when you get on Facebook, you see grown men arguing about like who the call is. It ain't even about who winning or not. It's like it's more disrespectful type, So when you playing against another team, you'll hear saying, "Hey, run his ass over again" or something like that. So it's like it's not about just winning and losing anymore. It's about betting. It's about grown men living through kids. Like I say, I've only, when I first started coaching, I was coaching soccer, and it's like soccer's bad, got their differences, stuff like that. But I've been coaching football for like 3 years, little league, and I ain't never seen nothing like that. Right. We was even at my first game last year on you. We were at the event and we shaking hands and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, 2 kids, they start cussing out one of my kids. I look up and another kid swing and hit one of my kids right in the head. And I was like, what happened? And he was like, he hit me. So like I said, when you got adults that talk like that amongst themselves, then they go to kids, and the kids be the same way. And like I say, to me, I can never bet on the kid because I always say the kid could have a bad night on Fortnite, and then he don't even want to play you the next day. You know, I ain't gonna put money on no kid.
That's real.
I think we've all witnessed it. Whichever best 11 kids show up that day,
right?
And you know, you even had it in the NFL. That's why you have these guys that come to college and come to the NFL that get in trouble in the college and get in trouble in NFL because Little League is like that now. You know, it's overhyped. It's over. And you got, you know, they're not looking at taking coaches through a background check that's real extensive to see. Let me see what you're doing on Facebook. Let me see what you're doing on social media to cause the service. Everybody gonna talk noise. Everybody want to win. I'm very nobody walks to the field and want to lose. But one issue with my own team, and I'll be transparent about my team, we cleanest everywhere we go. We always got the best uniforms. But when we play them teams that's not focused on the drip and they focus on the objective at hand, we always catch hell. We always catch it.
That's real.
So like I say, it's the kids ain't even focused no more. They hitting the gritty, but missing the block. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I like that. Let's go.
I just want to jump in and ask a question real quick because I'm not a coach. I work with NFL players and baseball players. I work in a professional space. So I'm not a coach, but I have a question for you guys: is who are the commissioners of these leagues that you guys are a part of, and then what are the rules and how are the rules enforced? You know, because it almost. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just to touch on your first question, that's part of the problem because now you could have a good league and a good commissioner going, but then one team or one person won't like a ruling against their team because they want to win so bad. And then they see the money aspect of it. So they branch off and try to start another league. Out here in Southern California, you'll have 6 different leagues. And then when one chapter gets put out of the league, they go to another entity and they'll try to start a whole new league all up. And because of the hype and because of the lack of the grind, everybody with that mindset transfers over to that league because, hey, we got the glamour, we got the glitz, we got the shine, we got the toughest players, but they're not developing the players. So that's a huge difference here in Southern California with the question that you asked. And for me, it goes back to living with people with like minds. Man, a lot of the coaches and the presidents with my organization, we've just moved over to a zero tolerance. And we moved over to a zero tolerance, one with our kids, as well as our parents. So if our kids are messing up in school, we pulling up.
Right.
The parents have us on their emergency card. And we pull up to the schools. We check their temperature at school. We talking with their teachers, their counselors. And if they're messing up at home, we pulling up to the house. It's a different, unique type of individual that's going to do that. Dennis mentioned it himself, where he had players and all of that stuff coming to his house and staying and then taking them camping and doing things like that. Me and my household, I couldn't do it. I had 2 girls, and with the kids that we work with, I didn't want that around my girls and didn't want that around my wife, you know, but that didn't stop me, G, and Dennis, that's actually on this call, and shouts out to Trey for that too. But we took the onus of being involved, not only on the field, but we're involved at the house, we're involved at the school, and the mindset changes and dwindles over to the mindset that we're putting forward. And the ones that don't want to attach on to that, they weed themselves out. Right. G used to tell me a long time ago when we first started that I can't save everybody. That was a hard lesson to learn.
For all of
because every household, Yeah.
Right.
Especially as minority men.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. And we live in, all of us on here are black men, man. We know what it's like to wake up every morning.
Yeah.
And to turn around and get back to our house, at night, and then have to deal with everything in between. We know what that is.
Yes, sir.
But the mindsets that we all have, again, I can't stress enough, is working and living with people with like minds that'll weed out those that don't want to conform.
Right. I think we have about 8 more minutes, Coach.
Yeah, about 8 more minutes. I want to touch on something before we get into it. Like I said, we got 8 minutes. You guys more than free to talk about whatever we want, whatever Coach G you guys want to talk about. I think this is something that needs to continue on, and you know what I'm saying, and I think it'll grow. But I want to say a lot of people don't understand. We understand that as black men, black fathers, I'm pretty sure Coach Dennis is getting a high dose of this. Mr. Brad is getting a dose of this right now, as all of us are, but they might be getting it on a different perspective. As black men, if we show any kinds of success or any kind of glamour, we're expected to go back and save at least 10 to 15 more people. You know, it's just something expected in our community. So, you know, as coaches, you know, I know you guys see it more than anything. If you pick up one kid, now 10 kids need rides. So, Coach G, go ahead and go from there.
You know, I know we all deal with different things and different aspects of the game, but I have a question. How do you as coaches deal with parents that kind of have an elite player, but they're making demands to you? Me personally, I'd rather lose every game than to compromise the integrity of my team. But I would love to hear what all the other coaches say, because now we have elite athletes out there and their parents are kind of juggling. If you don't give me this, I'm taking little Johnny. How do you deal with that as coaches?
I mean, Coach, you're the only person I know that would cut a kid from a championship team, Coach GB. And I learned a lot of that, seeing how you got down, you know, after championship games, and you know you still had tryouts.
Right.
But to address it is just that, you know, we really just have to stand up, and we really got to put our foot down and let those kids go. But the unfortunate part about it is that he's going to go to your competitor. He's going to go to another team just to throw it in your face. And that's when the tension rises.
Right.
That's when all the aggression rises. So we have to try to do something about changing that. And even if it's kind of like having a track record, like when you get expelled from school, you can't just go sign up for the next school because of your track record. And I think that that's real important to have something in place like that going forth, just because it'll help manage the emotions at the game, because we won't have those types of people. They have to go way out of state, 30 miles from their home just to go play football. And, you know, unfortunately, that's some of the things that I think we should be implementing. And as coaches, is putting our foot down. We got to let the talent go. Because at the end of the day, we're here to coach we're here to coach men and teach these kids to be men. This is the most discipline besides the penitentiary that these you know, inner city kids are going to feel. So it's either this, we're doing our job, or they're going to find themselves behind bars. And that's just real talk.
That's real.
To tap into what Coach Joe just said, a lot of that also, if that kid does the wraparound, Joe, is one of the things that we can kind of do. Even though the parent might be mad at us, when we see that kid, we still show that kid the same kind of love. We don't, oh man, we don't push him away. You know what I mean? So that wraparound is a good key to what you were talking about as well. Making sure that kid know that he's still loved. We just can't tolerate the direction that you're going, but we're here to continue to support you and hopefully bring you back. And you don't have to play for us, but I'm gonna still show you love, and I'm gonna be there and support for what it is for your growth.
Right on, Kate.
I want to jump in and say this real quick, because I know we're running short on time. That the nonprofit that I work with, National Society of Black Sports Professionals, it exposes minorities to opportunities in the sports industry. So you don't always have to be a player, or you know, to get on you don't have to be a player. You can be an agent or a financial advisor or work for a brand or whatnot. So it's a national organization. We have chapters in every major team city. And the chapter focuses on networking opportunities programming for high school students, college students, former and even current active professional athletes. What that said is I would love to tap in with you guys in each of your, individual, respective markets and connect you with those chapters so that then you can work with them to expose the youth that you're coaching to opportunities outside of sports. I'm just thinking in the aspect of empowerment, and resources, and how can we empower these youth with more resources, more knowledge, more education, because at the end of the day, when you have knowledge, you have power, and if you have power, you can make better decisions. So that's one of the things I would love to do, is be able to tap in with you guys in your respective markets and connect you to the chapter presidents so that you can, collaborate on just programming that you can offer the youth that you're coaching.
That's great stuff, Mr. Allen. Great stuff. Coach G, where we at? We got a couple minutes left. I know Coach Marco jumped on late. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what area you're from, what group you coach, and I think we're gonna be pretty much wrapping up, but we definitely want to know exactly what you represent.
How y'all doing, man? I'm Coach Marco from Maryland Heat CU. Was formerly known last year DMV Knights, the Wave Boys, from Maryland. Just appreciate being on here, man, with you guys.
Appreciate you.
Coach G, appreciate you for even inviting me on here. My time a little different from y'all's. It's 1 o'clock in the morning.
We definitely. That's why I couldn't let you walk away. We appreciate you, man. But like I said, this is something I would like to be a part of to help continue it moving forward. I'm pretty sure Coach G would, and hopefully we can get some of you guys to tap in. Coach G, what you want to do?
Yeah, before we close, I just want to say thank you to everyone. And I know a lot of the parents are going to be watching this saying, "Oh, we put it all on the parents," but I do feel it starts at home. But I do think that as coaches, we are the kids' vehicles to their salvation. So a lot of it carries on us. So, and like the coach said, a lot of these young men don't see men a lot. So we are the men that they see, and we have to be very mindful of that. So with that, I want to say this. I want to say we must check our moral compasses as coaches, mentors, and parents of our boys, because one day they will be someone's husbands, role models, or fathers. Let's raise them accordingly. Peace, love, and happiness to everybody, and thank everybody for being on here.
Let me Coach Dan tap out before we get out, Coach Dan.
I just want to tell everybody, thank you for coming out, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate everybody hard for coaching, man. You really got to have heart for the kids to really do this.
Definitely appreciate y'all with all the different time zones. Make sure Coach D get your information so we can put all the information in the description below, including you, Mr. Allen. Make sure we get all that so we can share with the coach. Mr. Brad, we appreciate you. We got to see some players out there. So,
most definitely.
Yes, sir.
Peace and blessings, man. It's much love. Let's do it again.
Hey, coaches, keep doing what you guys doing. Much love, man. Appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you. Stay safe. Stay safe, my brothers.
Appreciate you.